Well, I hope y'all can hear me. I'm going to be speaking up a little bit because I got fans on, I got the air conditioning on. It's a warm day in Florida here, okay? It's a warm day in Florida. I got the ceiling light on. I ain't worried about shadows on my face because I'm going to have this on anyways. And I ain't turning on no more lights than I got to. But today we are going to use the pharmacy honey potion. It's a warming mask. Yeah, that's what we need, right? Lord of mercy. We've been working on this one for a minute. And we're finally, like, you can actually tell. You can actually tell we've been into it here. So, this mask, okay, where's my towel? Here's my towel. We're good. You put it on, you rub it till it turns white, and then in like 10 or 15 minutes, you just wipe it off. So, I'm going to go ahead and apply that, and we're going to read chapter 14 and 15, see if we can't get through 2 chapters in our Bible today, and I'll be right back. I just wanted you to see real quick how when you rub this, it's like not clear anymore. It turns kind of white. And then that's when you go ahead and let her do her thing. You don't have to cover this. You can sit back, watch TV, you know, have a cup of tea, whatever it is you want to do. I cover it because I'm going to be reading and conversing with y'all, and it's just easier that way. So, oh my goodness, the glasses, they'd be so dirty. It's because, you know, I wear them like that 90% of the time so that I might actually find them, right? Okay, so, I didn't review from last week, but I think we just got kicked out. We have, who do we have here? We have, we have Abram and Lot and their wives, and they just got kicked out of Egypt. Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. So, basically, Pharaoh was a little disappointed, but the way it's written here, I mean, this isn't the full story, but the way it's written here is, it's not like Pharaoh, like, you know, took all his stuff, or, you know, or kept his wife, or, you know, he was like, just kind of, why didn't you tell me that that was your wife? You know, I mean, you told me it was your sister. Okay, but why didn't you tell me that was your wife? You know, because obviously Pharaoh had a thing for her, right? And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why did thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore behold thy wife, take her and go thy way." So, like, basically, God got mad at Pharaoh, but I don't know, there's got to be more to this story. So we're going into chapter 14. Lot and Abram went up out of Egypt, and they have kind of gone their own ways. Lot chose him the plain of Jordan. And where did Abram go? Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan. Okay. And it came to pass, chapter 14, in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arak, king of Elasar, Shedorlaomer, king of Shedor, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. Interesting. That these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah. Shinab, king of Admah. Okay, so basically, there's a whole lot of people that I can't pronounce their names, and they are going to war. All of these were joined together in the Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. Interesting. 12 years. They served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Asheroth and Karnaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Enims in Shavra Kernanithanim. Yeah, okay, that's totally not right. And the Horites in their Mount Zeir unto El-Piran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to En-Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazezon Tamar. Wow, so who's winning here? And there went out to the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeborim, and the king of Bela. The king of Bela is the same as Zoar. And they joined the battle with them in the Vale of Siddim, which was the Salt Sea. Okay, we got that. With Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, the king of nations, and the king of Shinar, and the king of Elasar. 4 kings with 5. 4 kings with 5. Okay, there's Chedorlaomer, Tidal, and Peripherel, and Aronach. 4 kings with 5. So maybe 4 kings with 5 nations. I don't know what that means. And the Vale of Siddim was full of slime pits. I swear, that's what it says. Slime pits. Pits that are full of slime, okay? And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they remained, fled, and they that remained fled to the mountain. Okay, so the kings fell, and, you know, anybody that didn't fall ran to the mountains. They took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all of their victuals and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Okay, who is they? And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. Don't know who Dan is. What Dan is, I don't know. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. And Mechaedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. The king of Sodom and unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shulachet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldst say, I have made Abram rich. Abram said to the king of Sodom, Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men that went with me, and near Eshcol and Mamre, let them take their portion. Okay, so it sounds like, they're divvying up. They're divvying up the goods for the war. Now, it also sounds to me like, even though this is a story in the Bible, I didn't hear nothing about God telling them to go wipe out nobody. So, they kind of did this on their own. I don't see nothing about God saying, they got your brother, it's okay for you to go to war and wipe them out and go save your brother. Okay, that didn't happen. At least, not yet. I don't know, maybe later, but not yet. Chapter 15. So, which kind of, because people always say, oh yeah, well, in the Bible, there's, the Christians did, God, God told them, no, God didn't tell them nothing right there. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, This shall not be thy heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Which is kind of a fancy way of saying, you are eventually going to have a kid. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am of the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know what I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all of these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. So it sounds like he, processed them, cut the parts apart, except for the birds. When the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Birds of prey. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. Also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, in a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed I have given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Kenites and the Kenizarites and the Cadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites. In the same day the Lord made a covenant unto him, saying, I have given this land. I'm not seeing an actual sentence there, but evidently these are the people that already live there, and God is saying, this is the land that, yeah. Okay, so next is 16. So, basically, he's whining because he don't have no son, and God says, hey, no problem, dude. I'm going to take care of that. You're going to have a son. Don't worry about having to, adopt or, whatever, because I'm going to give you a son of your very own. So they leave Egypt. They find their way. Lot ends up in the middle of a war, kidnapped, him and his people, taken somewhere. Abram takes his dudes, goes and saves them, brings them all back, and then says, gee, God, I praise you. I've done all this. I'm going to have to leave my stuff. Who do I leave my stuff to? Who's going to inherit what I leave behind? Because I don't have a son of my own. And God says, don't worry, I'm going to take care of that. And that's pretty much where we are now. So anybody that has any comments, arguments, has a different opinion, comment below, because I'm just reading this and kind of developing my own little perspective. And like I said, this is Genesis, so maybe later on when we read a book that has a whole story instead of just a chapter, maybe it'll fill us in a little bit more on some of the stuff. I don't know, because I've never read the book before. But until I am going to wipe this off after we get out of here. Until the next time, I hope you wake up dancing. Wake up dancing. Ba-bum-bum. Wake up dancing. Every single day. Bye-bye. And God bless.